Year 10 and 11, welcome to your analysis of My Last Duchess by Robert Browning in preparation for your AQA English Literature Poetry exam. Before we begin our analysis, it is important to understand that the speaker in the poem is not the poet. Robert Browning has created a fictional character, the controlling Duke. The main themes and ideas expressed throughout the poem are those of gender, power, and inequality. In the 1800s, women had no rights and they belonged to their husbands. What is the poem about? A duke is presenting a painting of his wife, or his ex-wife, to a visitor. Everybody who views the painting asks about his ex-wife's expression. We are told that her expression is a result of not just him, but other men. That she was impressed by everything she looked on. He believes that she thanks men in ways he is unsure of. He has her killed. At the end of the poem, he is going to meet a man whose daughter he wants to marry. The structure of the poem. The poem is a dramatic monologue where we hear the thoughts of the Duke. Robert Browning uses one regular stanza to present the Duke as self-obsessive, controlling, powerful, and dominant. Heroic rhyming couplets are used. This gives the poem a controlled, restrained tone, again showing us the character of the Duke and how he controls women, namely his ex-wife. The poem also uses enjambment, which allows the speech and the thoughts to flow uninterrupted. It mimics natural speech, but also builds up the Duke's frustration as he describes his ex-wife. Browning also uses the caesura, which is pauses in the middle of poetic lines, to show us that the Duke is calculating and he manipulates the listener. He controls what he says and what the listener hears. Apologies, I have written hers instead of his. I apologise. It's just to say that again. He controls what he says and what the listener hears. The first few lines of the poem. That's my last Duchess painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that piece a wonder now. Frau Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. Will it please you sit and look at her? I said Frau Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance. So straight away, we've got the pronoun my, which shows us that my last Duchess, he thinks his ex-wife belongs to him. Again, this is a reflection of women in society at the time and how they belonged to their husbands. Okay, it shows us that he is possessive. The word last obviously shows us that it was his last wife, and we obviously know that she's dead. Looking as if she were alive, the painting is so realistic that it looks as if she's alive. Okay, so it's a very realistic painting of her. The word now in the middle of the sentence, look, is separated by the comma and the colon, which, as I said earlier, is your caesura. When she was alive, he viewed her negatively. And now that she's dead, she's a wonder. So again, that begs the question of, did he initially dislike the painting, and that's why he hides it away sometimes and then shows some people it? Potentially. We've also got a rhetorical question. Will it please you sit and look at her? But when we look at the rhetorical question again, we realise that actually it's a command. He's telling people to look at the painting. The next few lines. The depth and passion of its earnest glance, but to myself they turned. Since none puts by the curtain I have drawn for you but I, and seemed as they would ask me, if they durst, how such a glance came there. So not the first. Are you to turn and ask thus, sir? 'Twas not her husband's presence only called that spot of joy into the Duchess's cheek. Right, we've got the brackets. Why? Again, it shows us that the Duke controls who sees the painting. There's a curtain in front of it, and he'll show some people and he won't show some people. So even when she's dead, he controls her. Direct pronoun you. Again, it's as if he's talking to her and he sounds angry, since none puts by the curtain I have drawn for you. When we hear about how such a glance came there, it wasn't just the Duke who made her smile like that, and therefore he voices the questions of other people. So you can imagine if other people are standing in front of the painting, they might say, oh, well, why does she look like that? Why does she look pleased like that? Or why is she smiling like that? And it says you're not the first to ask that question. So you can see why he's getting angry. We also have a metaphor of spot of joy. That spot of joy in the Duchess's cheek. It's a metaphor for the expression on her face. Now, the interesting thing here is if you look closely, 'twas not her husband's presence only. So it wasn't just him that made her happy, that put the spot of joy on her face, but rather the suggestion is that it was other men. And therein lies the jealousy, the anger, and the obsession of the Duke. The next few lines. Perhaps Fra Pandolf chanced to see her mantle lapse over my lady's wrist too much, or paint must never hope to reproduce the faint half flush that dies along her throat. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy she had. If we look at the word perhaps, it shows us that he is guessing what the artist and what other men have said to her. He's guessing, and therein lies the problem within the poem. If he doesn't know she's done something wrong and he has her killed, that presents us with a very cold-hearted character here. Again, it's jealousy. He is jealous that other men think she's attractive. He is jealous that other men give her compliments. So when we hear the suggestion that the artist has complimented her and wants to see more of her skin, we realise why the Duke is starting to become angry. And remember, he presents her as naive, that the idea that she would show more flesh just because a man asks her and just because a man is being nice. Dies is emotive. If you look at the line, half flush that dies along her throat. Is this how she died? Was she strangled? Was her throat slit? Is this showing us exactly how he had her killed? The half flush that dies along her throat. It's metaphorical. And then we have the repetition of spot of joy again, because he's saying that she's naive. So she thinks that men are being polite when they're giving her compliments, but the Duke thinks that they want something more. And again, we're told about this spot of joy on her face, this expression that she has on her face. The next few lines. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad, too easily impressed. She liked whatever she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. So again, as I said earlier, is she naive, thinking men are being polite? Is she innocent? Again, that's up to interpretation. The Duke questions the marriage and the relationship that they had when he says that she's too soon made glad, too easily impressed. Look at the repetition of too. Her looks went everywhere. She liked whatever she looked on. Once again, we have this. Look at these short sentences that are broken up by punctuation. Okay, these short sentences all the way through, broken up by the caesura. You've got your punctuation of the caesura. Again, he manipulates the listener. But these short sentences are again bang, bang, bang. The frustration, the anger, the jealousy of the Duke that his wife would look at other men, that his wife would be happy when looking at other men. Her looks went everywhere. It's the idea that she likes everybody. And the next few lines. She thanked men good, but thanked somehow I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900-year-old name with anybody's gift. Who'd stoop to blame this sort of trifling? Even had you skill in speech, which I have not to make your will. So look at the start there. She thanked men good. And guess what? We've got an exclamation mark there. It's almost for drama, isn't it? For dramatic effect. She thanked men good, but thanked somehow I know not how. So once again, it's disturbing that he doesn't know what she's done. Look at I know not how. He assumes that she's been unfaithful and that she thanks them physically. And he has her killed. Now, as if she ranked my gift of a 900-year-old name with anybody's gift. He doesn't like the idea that she isn't grateful for his name, so therefore he feels mistreated by her. And it's the idea that when she gets gifts off other men, she likes them more than she does him. She appreciates other men more than him. And then he tells us a lie. He tells us a couple of misleading things, because he says, who'd stoop to blame that sort of trifling? Rhetorical question. But actually, he has stooped. He has stooped to the level of someone else, because actually he's gone one step further and had her killed. Now, the direct lie we get from the Duke is when he says, even had you skill in speech, which I have not. He says he's not very good at talking. The poem is 56 lines long and suggests otherwise. He's very manipulative in his speech, in what he says, how he manipulates other people, the people looking at the painting. So not only do we have a jealous, obsessive, dominant, powerful character, but we also have a liar and someone misleading. And your next few lines. I choose never to stoop. Oh, sir, she smiled no doubt whenever I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? This grew, I gave commands, then all smiles stopped together. There she stands as if alive. Will it please you rise? Then, as I say, the irony is that he says he won't stoop, but he has her killed. Yeah? Here again, we have the jealousy of the Duke when we hear that she smiles at everyone in the same way that she smiles at him. She smiled, no doubt, whenever I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? Now, he presents that as a question, but again, actually what he's doing there is presenting us with his opinion and his thoughts that she smiles at everyone that goes past her in the same way that she smiles at me. So he thinks as a husband he should be given special privileges or some sort of different treatment, and he doesn't get it. Now look at this. This grew, I gave commands. Look at your Shazera there again, the pause in the middle. This grew, I gave commands, segregated by 2 semicolons. It is isolated to emphasise the Duke's power, because we know that the command is for someone to kill her. And then we get the really cold, again, short sentence there, segregated by the semicolon and the full stop. All smiles stopped together. Her death. We finish again with a rhetorical question, but much like the others, it is a command. Will it please you rise? Whoever's looking at the painting is being told to rise. The manipulation of the way he talks, the manipulation of the listener, the power of the Duke. And the end of the poem. We'll meet the company below then. I repeat the count. Your master's known munificence is ample warrant that no just pretence of mine for dowry will be disallowed, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. Notice Neptune, though taming a seahorse, thought a rarity, which Klaus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. So, he wants to meet a man downstairs at a party, we assume, to see about marrying his daughter. And isn't it interesting that we get this? I repeat. Is that foreshadowing, as in he's going to repeat the murder if this new wife doesn't do as he says? And then we get my object. The new wife will be controlled and will be his possession, much like my last Duchess, who is now a possession on the wall, i.e. a painting. The poem finishes with a wonderful image, guys. and it is this. It is a statue of the god Neptune taming a seahorse. We all know what taming means. So the god Neptune is taming a seahorse. This image is a direct representation of the Duke and the Duchess. The Duke is the god, the Duchess has been the seahorse and is being tamed and has been controlled. It is also a foreshadowing of an image of the Duke and his new wife. The Duke is going inevitably to control his new wife, whoever he marries, so that this statue finishes the poem and actually represents the Duke's relationships. I hope you found this video useful. If you do need any more, just type my name into YouTube. It's Stacey Reay, Stacey, and Reay is Reay, and good luck in your poetry exam.